Welcome back to English for Writing Business Emails. I'm Brian Stewart, and in this video lesson we're going over the second half of Unit 6, How to Write an Introductory Email. So let's begin. In this unit we're starting on page 67, and of course there's the QR code on the top of the page, but of course you don't need it, you're already here. But if you haven't bought the book already, please consider buying the book. The order information is down below in the video description. So thank you, I appreciate it. So what we're going to do in this unit is take a look at a good example of writing an introductory email. We're going to break it down into the order of paragraphs and what is the function of each paragraph. And then we'll take a look at vocabulary, how to build up your vocabulary for different situations, what are some different expressions you can use. And at the end of this unit, our goal is to have you feeling confident that you can write an introductory email to someone you don't know. Okay, so let's get started. Now the email that we're going to take a look at, it has some background. Suppose that you work for a pharmaceutical company in Seoul. A pharmaceutical company, a company that manufactures medicines or maybe even medical devices. But usually it means medicines, drugs for treating medical conditions. But of course it doesn't matter what company you work for. This situation would work for almost any type of firm. So imagine that your boss recently attended an expo in Singapore last week. She met John Smith while she was there, and John Smith mentioned his company might be interested in marketing their oncology product, Renting R, in the Korean market. Now, oncology, that just means dealing or studying the treatment of cancer. So different types of cancer. So they have a product, it's Renting R. It's a type of product that is used in the treatment of cancer, and he's interested in selling it or marketing it in the Korean market. So when your boss returned to Korea, she asked you to follow up with Mr. Smith via or by email. So how would you write the email? You haven't met John Smith, right? You don't know him. Your boss knows him. And she said that she told John Smith that she would follow up, or she would have one of her employees or one of her staff members follow up and contact him about a possible joint venture or maybe being a distributor for this foreign firm's product in Korea. So let's take a look at the email. And of course you can find this email on page 67 of your book. So let's go over it together here. Okay, so here we have the email, and the subject line is Possible Licensing Partnership, Han Farm, Korea. So that is a very good subject line. It's short, it gets to the point very quickly. When Mr. John Smith wants to go back and maybe find this first email, he can find it right away just looking at the subject line. It starts off formally because we do not know this person. Dear Mr. John Smith. That is a formal way to address an email to someone that you do not know. That's a perfectly good way to do it. Use their whole name, use Mr. or Ms. in front of their name. What is the first paragraph? The first paragraph says, at Han Farm, Korea, we were informed that you are looking for a partner to license your oncology product, Renting R, in the Korean market. We would like to offer our services to help you achieve this goal. Okay, so this last sentence here is really why I am writing this person, Mr. John Smith. I can't underline the bottom, but you get it. So again, when you write your email, try to put your purpose at the very beginning of the email. Of course, the first sentence here is a little bit of background information. It's kind of like saying, we heard, we were informed, someone told us, right? But informed, of course, is more, we went over this before, that's more formal vocabulary. So we were informed. Now, you say we were told, but we were informed, it sounds more professional. We were informed that you are looking for a partner to license your oncology product in the Korean market. That's the background information. The reason why I'm writing you is because we would like to offer our services to help you achieve that goal. Okay, very direct. It's not impolite. It's a formal but direct statement of purpose. Why are you writing that person? And again, like I said, that's what you want to have at the beginning of your email. Moving on. Now, maybe we need to supply some background information because Mr. Smith might receive this email and say, what's going on? How did they know? Who is this person contacting me? So maybe we should fill in some background information. And we want to be polite about it. We say, you may recall. That's another way of saying you might remember. Don't say, do you remember meeting my boss? Because that's too direct. It's much more polite it's a little indirect to adopt an indirect tone and throw in some words of possibility. You may, you might, it's possible that you. In this case, you may recall meeting my boss, Sue Kim, at the Singapore Farm Expo last week. Now, some people might say boss might be a little too direct or doesn't sound very professional. Of course, you could write, you may recall meeting my manager, or you may recall meeting our vice president, something like that, if you don't like the word boss. Where did you meet this person? Be specific, right? Give specific details. The Singapore Farm Expo, when was it? It was last week. If it was longer than that, maybe you'd give a date on October 12th, right? Our business development team was impressed with the details from your presentation. Oh, okay, so John Smith gave a presentation at the expo, and Sue Smith brought the details back. Our business development team was impressed, and I am the manager of this team. So that gives the reader some background. Okay, who is this person? How are they related to the person I talked to before? What's going on? What's a little bit about the background? This is sufficient. There's no need to tell the person how long you've been with the company. There's no need to tell them, what your history of titles have been with the company. Sometimes I see students will write that. No, keep it simple, keep it short, just give them the basic information that they need and move on. Now, here we want to also give a little bit of background information about our company to show or to impress upon Mr. John Smith that our company is a serious player in the business. We're not, some small company that doesn't have a lot of capability. We're a large company. We can handle his business very easily and very well. So here we have a paragraph introducing our business. It starts off, Han Pharm is a pharmaceutical company based in Seoul, Korea, with annual sales of 600 million US dollars. So you might want to throw that fact in there to show, look, we're not a small player, we're a big player. So you could mention, how much your revenue is year to year. How many products did you sell in the last quarter? How many employees are working at your company? These are all different details that you could use to impress upon your reader that, hey, we're not a small company. We're very capable of handling your business. But I'm not saying anything bad about small companies. Sometimes people do want a small company, but it's just giving background information. It's kind of like showing your credentials, right? You want their business, so you want to impress upon them that you are the company that can handle their business. Here we have the next sentence. We employ more than 1,200 pharmaceutical experts. Well, that's a good word, right? Instead of saying people or employees, we have experts, right? So again, it's kind of like selling your company. You're selling your company. Our business areas include prescription drugs, over-the-counter products, medical services and diagnostics, consumer healthcare products, and medical nutrition supplements. Wow. So we have a lot of different things. It doesn't matter, how many you list. If you can list at least 3, that's great. Here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? We got 6 things. So that's great. You just want to show all the different things that all the different things that your company is capable of doing. Okay, moving on. We are constantly searching for new innovative pipelines as part of our Open Innovation Initiative. Okay, so this is kind of using a little bit of a jargon or business speak here. Of course, we are constantly searching for, of course, every company is constantly searching for new markets, new partners, new opportunities. That's a good expression to use for a wide variety of situations. For new innovative, right? Innovative, smart, creative pipelines. Pipeline, of course, is a supply. When we're talking about the supply chain, a pipeline would be a manufacturer, somebody who can supply something. So innovative pipelines is part of our Open Innovation Initiative. And that's basically what this email is about. you guys are the manufacturer, you create this product, we would like to distribute it in this market for you, okay? Han Farm is partnered with. Now this is a little bit more information about your company. We have partnered with. That's a good expression to use. Don't say we co-work with, because that's kind of Konglish. We have partnered with and or invested. So either you partnered with them or you've invested in those different companies. And you could say, you could handle that situation with and or, okay? And that's a good way to do it. We've either partnered with them and invested them, or we've just invested in, right? So either A or B, or A and B, okay? In various biotech companies across the world, including Genesis RX, Tilda, and Regen. I just made up these names. It doesn't matter, but it's a good idea maybe to mention some of your more high-profile clients so that the customer gets the idea, hey, you can handle their business, right? You handle this other company's account, so you could easily handle their business as well. It depends on whether, confidentiality agreements, whatever, or whether it's not confidential. It's common knowledge. Of course, that's up to you whose name you drop in your email. We'll call that name dropping. But it's up to you, right? And it's sometimes a good idea to say, look, our previous clients include, just don't give a whole list of clients. Nobody wants to read, 14 different names. Just choose maybe the 3 most prominent or the 3 most well-known of your clients to mention in your email. And notice including. So including doesn't mean all of them. It just means that these 3 are included in the group of your clients. Okay, good. Okay, the next slide, we want to start closing the email. We see, please find attached our company profile. And we've seen this expression before, please find attached. And what is it? Our company profile. Please find attached our company profile for more detailed information. We would appreciate it if you, again, another expression that we've seen before, we would appreciate it if, formal request, if you could provide us with more information about renting R. So we're also asking them to do something, to take some action. We would like him to provide us with something. Provide somebody with something else. In this case, more information about your product. And then we finish the email with a polite expression. We hope that you will contact us soon for further discussions. This is a polite way of saying that, again, you want them to do something. It's not giving them a deadline because, again, you don't know if they will accept your proposal or not. This is like the first email. You're kind of just throwing it out there. And you don't know if they will accept your proposal or not. If they're interested, of course, they will contact you. If not, then they won't. You might send a follow-up email later on, maybe in a couple weeks if they don't get back to you, just to see what's going on. But it's really up to them what they want to do. So we hope that you will contact us. Again, of course, you could also say, we look forward to hearing from you. But in this case, we hope that you will contact us soon for further discussions. And throwing in soon, it's, you're not throwing in a deadline. You're not pressuring them. They're under no obligation to do this. So you can't really push them. You just say, we hope that you will contact us soon for further discussions. Okay, so that's a good way to handle that type of situation when you do not know the other person, and especially when you're just sending. It's like you're sending out a feeler, right? Some people might call this a cold email, right? Cold calling is when you call people you don't know to try to get their business. Of course, your boss or your manager knows this person, so it's not really that much of a cold email, but it is, you don't know the person. So that's a very good way to end that type of email, when you don't know the person and you're just hoping that they will respond. Okay, good. Let's move on. Okay, so now let's take a look at the order of paragraphs for this email. Of course, if you look at page 67, you can see that there are 6 paragraphs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's put these paragraphs in order. What was the first paragraph? What did the first paragraph do? At the beginning starts with at Han Farm Korea. What did it do? Did it express hope for future communication? Did it describe how the writer knows the reader? Did it state the purpose of the email? Did it supply the reader with specific details or ask for information in return? Did it describe the writer's company, which was actually 2 paragraphs? Well, of course, the first paragraph was when you stated the purpose of the email. Again, I can't stress that enough. Your first paragraph should state the purpose of the email. The second paragraph starts off with, you may recall meeting my boss. What What function does that paragraph do? Of course, that describes how the writer knows the reader. In the next paragraph, Han Pharma is a pharmaceutical company, da 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 da. And also the next paragraph, paragraphs 3 and 4, describe the writer's company. It's actually 2 paragraphs, right? First, they talk about, how many people they employ, what are their annual sales, and also the 4th paragraph talks about what they are interested in and what they want to do, and also who are their major clients. In the 5th paragraph, what is the 5th paragraph? Starts off with, please find attached. Well, that would supply the reader with specific details and ask for some information in return. We would appreciate it if you could provide us with some more detailed information. And of course, number 6, the last paragraph, expresses hope for future communication. So this is a very good setup to your email. I'm not saying you have to follow this template, but it's a good outline for your email. Let's take a look. This is all mixed up. Let's just take a look at what that should look like. So first paragraph, state the purpose of your email. Second paragraph, how do you know the reader? Third and fourth paragraphs, maybe 1, maybe 2 paragraphs. It's up to you. How much background or how much introductory information do you want to give about yourself or your company, really? And then give the reader any specific details, if you have any attachments that you're sending to them. Also ask them if you want to ask them for any information or anything that you require from them. Maybe you want to set up a meeting, so that's a good place to put that language there too. Would it be possible to meet? Or we would appreciate it if we could arrange a meeting on such and such date, right? And then finish your email with some hope for future communication, which is a very standard, common way to finish up your email. Okay, so let's take a look at these different paragraphs and look at some expressions for handling each function of each paragraph. And of course, I'm looking at page 68 here, and there are some different expressions that we can use. Let's go over those together. So first we have, I am writing to you because we would like to offer our services to you. And of course, I talked about this expression a long time ago. I believe in Unit 1, when we were talking about the format of an email, this is a very common expression to use. I am writing to you because, and of course other expressions. And then of course you could follow it with whatever. We would like to offer our services to you. We would like to inform you about our products. Whatever it is. What is the reason for writing? Get that in the first paragraph. The next expression, I would like to inform you that. In this case, I am your new contact point at Yerpa Industries. So this is a situation we saw in the previous video in Unit 6-1. Another expression we could use, again, we talked about this before, we are contacting you. Now, after we are contacting you, it's common to use in order to, but you could also say in the hopes of, right? We are contacting you in the hopes of entering a possible partnership, or in order to learn more about your product, right? So whatever it is, start off with we are contacting you, and then in order to, or in the hopes of, and then say why you are contacting them. Another expression, we would like to offer you. That's a good way to start your email. We would like to offer you our services. You don't have to say you. You could just say, we would like to offer our services regarding your desire to market your products in Korea, for example. You could put you there. You don't have to. Another expression, we could say, we would like to know more about. Now, this is a very common way to start this type of email. We would like to know more about something. We would like to know more about your products. We would like to know more about your services. Okay? Or, of course, you could say, we were informed that. This is a good expression to use when somebody else told you about the company. It's like a recommendation or a referral. We were informed that you were searching for a service provider. We are a service provider, so let's talk, okay? So we were informed that somebody told us about this, okay? And that's what was used in this email here. So we've gone over a few expressions. The idea here for this exercise is, how would you start an introductory email? First, state why you are contacting the person. And of course, I've given you some room here to write why you are contacting the person. So you can write down in the space here, think about your introductory email, think about the examples we went over and the example expressions, use some of those, and just write 1 or 2 sentences to begin your email? That would be the first paragraph, just the first paragraph of your email. What would you write? So if you need to take some time, go ahead and pause the video, then come back and let's go over some examples. Okay, welcome back. I hope you did well on the exercise. Let's go over a couple of examples, things that you may have written. Of course, we had, the email here, Dear Mr. John Smith. That's not the emphasis here. The emphasis is that we are writing the first paragraph. So, we are contacting you in the hopes of, right? We could use that expression, arranging a partnership for. What is the partnership for? What is the purpose of the partnership? The purpose is to import and distribute your products in Korea. So this is maybe a fairly typical situation. You're contacting a foreign firm in the hopes of, good expression, arranging a partnership or setting up a partnership for importing their products and distributing them throughout Korea. That's one example. Let's take a look at another example. We heard, right? Not we know. We talked about this in an earlier unit. You don't write in the email, we know you are looking for, 어떻게 알아요, right? How do you know that? It's a little weird. We heard you are looking for a new supplier for Momo auto parts in your electronic dashboards. Okay, this is an actual situation from one of my workshops, okay? Our product, Momo, could be the perfect solution for you. Okay, so that's an interesting way to begin your email, right? We heard you're looking for a new supplier. We manufacture. We believe our product would fit your needs, so we want to sell the product to you, right? There's a lot of, this could be a very typical situation as well. So those are a couple of examples. But again, remember, in your first paragraph, you want to explain to the reader why you are writing. Then we want to describe how we know the reader, especially if we're contacting them, they've never met us, they don't know us, how do we know them? So there's many ways to handle that. You could say, I am contacting you on behalf of. In other words, somebody else asked me to contact you. I had one student write, my boss told me to contact you. Don't use that, obviously, because it sounds like, I don't want to contact you. My boss told me to contact you, so I'm contacting you. That kind of expresses an idea that you don't really want to give, right? You don't want the reader to think, oh, they're just contacting me because they don't really want to. It's their boss told them to do it. No, I am contacting you on behalf of someone, my boss or my employer or our manager or Ms. Soo Kim, who you met at the Singapore Expo, whatever. Another one, a colleague suggested that I contact you in order to. Okay, so you're saying maybe it's a mutual acquaintance, someone you know and someone they know. So a colleague suggested that I contact you in order to. Now it doesn't have to be a mutual acquaintance, of course. It could just be somebody saw your advertisement on the internet and they said, oh, you should contact them. So that could be the situation as well. We were impressed with your presentation. So if you go to a symposium, you go to an expo, you go to an industry show, and you see somebody giving a presentation, or maybe you see a presentation online. Of course, many presentations are happening online these days, and that's a good way to start that idea. How do you know them? We were impressed with your presentation at the 12th annual auto show, or whatever it might be, right? So we were impressed with your presentation. Or we recently saw your company's website and you don't have to repeat it, and are interested in your products or services. So these are good ways to describe how you know the reader. Some other expressions. Your advertisement in Pharmacology Monthly. So this would be some kind, perhaps a trade journal, right? In your industry, there are probably magazines or periodicals. They could be online, they could be offline, but they are printed every so often, maybe every month, and maybe every quarterly. And if people advertise or even have articles in those periodicals, you may have read it, say, oh, that's interesting. It caught our attention. You could also say, it caught our eye. It caught our eye is a little less formal, but of course you could say it caught our attention. We were interested in your advertisement. Another expression, Mr. Lee from ICL Services recommended you to us. So in this case, this would be a mutual acquaintance. You're assuming, of course, they know who that is because you're naming them, and you're also naming their company. Be specific when you do this, right? Don't just say Mr. Lee recommended you to us. There are many Mr. Lees in Korea, obviously. So who? Maybe you might want to use his first name too. Mr. Ji-Hoon Lee from ICL Services recommended you to us, right? Be as specific as possible so that person can connect the dots. Okay, good. Next, perhaps you recall. Perhaps you recall. This is a nice, friendly expression because I'm not expecting that you remember. I don't expect that you remember something that may have happened 2 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. Perhaps you remember. Maybe you recall, you remember our meeting at the, and then the name of the event and the date of the event. An example of that would be, perhaps you recall our meeting at the 5th Annual Symposium of Pharmacists in Singapore on May 10th this year. So again, you're being very specific. The 5th Annual Symposium, where was it? It was in Singapore. When was it? May 10th of this year. So help the person remember you. Of course, they probably met many people. They may not remember you. Perhaps you recall. Perhaps you remember. Maybe you remember talking with me after your presentation. Okay, so now we have another exercise. Explain how you know them. We've just gone over various expressions for explaining to the reader how you know that person. Let's use them. And remember, they might not remember, so give specific details. And if you need to, again, pause the video, write your sample answer. And you, of course, you could write that on the bottom of page 69 here. You have space. Just that paragraph, right? Just write that paragraph. How do you know the person? Give them details of your previous meeting if you had met before. Okay? Okay, welcome back. Let's go over a couple of examples here. Of course, and there are 2 examples here. This is not the same. There are 2 examples, right? They're separate. So the first one, you might remember, again, you're being indirect. You're not demanding that they remember you. You might remember meeting me at the 2020 auto show in Incheon, Korea. Okay, so what was the name of the show? Where was it? Another example, perhaps you recall. Perhaps you recall. You might recall. Perhaps you recall our meeting at the 12th Annual Electronics Show in Las Vegas last month. Okay, be specific. Try to have them remember how they know you. I've got another couple of examples. Now, what if you've never met them? Maybe you didn't meet them. So what are some other examples, right? And again, I have 2 for you. Try to give you a lot of different examples. The first one here. Ms. Stacy Riles from IPX highly recommended your company to us. So I'm assuming that they know who she is, right? Maybe she's one of their clients. Maybe she has done business with them before. So I mentioned her full name, right? And I mentioned what company she is from. So that's enough information for them to know, oh yeah, I know who that is. Ms. Stacy Riles from IPX highly recommended your company to us. So it's a referral, basically. Or you could say, I am contacting you on behalf of our regional manager. And then who is she? Give specific details. Again, try to be as specific as possible. Ms. Sue Lee, who was impressed by your presentation at her offices in Singapore. So the reader actually gave a presentation at your manager's offices in Singapore. You might put the date at her offices in Singapore last week, for example. You could do that. But probably they'll remember this, okay? But this is another good expression to use for that situation. Now you want to introduce yourself and maybe your company too. And remember, don't give them a full resume. I see many students will write too much information when they do this. Keep it short, keep it summarized, keep it to the essential details, just a brief explanation, maybe what your title is or what your responsibilities are at the company. And then of course you can also throw in introductory information about your company or your organization. Okay, so let's take a look. So I work in the purchasing department at ABC Company, or I am the head researcher in the Momo department. Now remember, we talked about this before. At, now we would use a company name. Or in, if you use in, then it would be the, what department? In the accounting department. Accounting. Department. Yeah, okay. In the accounting department. So because we used in. Don't use company with in. Okay, next. I'm in charge of. So I'm in charge of the acquisitions team. I'm in charge of new product developments. Okay, I'm in charge of the new product development team. Or I lead a team of researchers. I lead a team of marketers. I lead a sales team. I lead the overseas sales team at such and such company. I specialize in. This is a good expression to use. It shows what you are an expert in something. I specialize in international contract law at Yoon, Lee, and Kim, right? Some law firm. Okay, I don't know if that's a real firm or not. Okay, so these are different ways to introduce yourself. And of course, there are many different, these expressions, of course, are on page 70 here for you. Okay, so you could choose and just use one of these as you see fit, as according to your situation. Well, next we have, what about your company? How would you introduce your company? Again, there are many different things that you can talk about. You can talk about what your position in the region or market is. We are one of the leading media firms in Asia. Or we are a mid-sized. Mid-sized. You're not the largest, but you're not the smallest. You're in the middle somewhere. We are a mid-sized supplier of electronic parts for computers, or we are a mid-sized supplier of computer chips, for example. Our clients include, right? It might be a good idea to mention some of your main clients. Again, don't give them, a whole bunch of names they have to read through. I would suggest keep it down to 3. Or who are your 3 most, in this case 2, but who are your 2 or 3 most important clients? Or we have branches throughout Asia Pacific. You might talk about how wide your company is, or what markets you serve. We specialize in, again, we see that expression, we specialize in doing something. We specialize in ing, right? We specialize in developing. We specialize in manufacturing, right? So doing something. So these are some expressions here. Of course, I've got more expressions for you on page 70, so you can check those out if you have the book, okay? But these are just a few that you can use. Next, it's a good idea to throw in some expressions of what your goals, or maybe what your company's mission statement is, right? What does your company, of course you can state what your company does, but why does your company do it? What is their overall goal? Of course, many companies want to serve the public. Maybe they want to create a better future for everybody. These are very common company slogans, right? But you can also be more specific and say what your immediate goals are. For example, we can see a few here. We are considering expanding into. So here we have verb ing plus verb ing. That's possible, especially we are considering expanding. We are now, you be careful. You can't always do this. If you use planning, you can't say we are planning expanding. We are planning to expand. Another expression, we believe a partnership between our organizations could be of mutual benefit. Mutual, it's good for both of us. It's good for you, it's good for us. So it's mutual, a mutual benefit. Or we would like to market your product in a certain area. For example, we just saw that case. We would like to market your products in Korea. Okay? Or we are constantly searching for new partners and opportunities in this innovative field. We saw that in the previous email. So these are some ways that you can state goals or mutual benefits to further impress upon the client that, hey, we're interested in doing business with you. Okay, so now it's time for our next exercise. Give introductory information. So give introductory information about yourself and your company, and also try to mention any mutual benefits. Why would it be good for them to accept your proposal or to agree to what you're requesting in this email? So again, if you need some time, take a little bit of time, pause the video, write out 1 or 2 short paragraphs, and then come back and we'll take a look at some examples. Okay, here's our first example. We start off as one of the leading auto manufacturers in Asia, we. Now remember, if you start off with this type of construction, right, you're describing yourself, right, because we. If you put you, then that description would apply to them. Okay, so be careful. We're using this type of sentence construction. You're describing yourself as one of the leading auto manufacturers in Asia. That's us, right? We could offer you a very high market penetration in this fast-growing region. High market penetration, that means that they are very successful. They have a large share of the market in a certain region. And fast-growing region, of course, means it is growing very rapidly, very quickly. It is expanding very quickly. Okay, so this is a good example here. What is a mutual benefit, or what can we do for you? You could also write something like this. This is a little bit longer. We specialize in manufacturing various medical instruments in use for treating heart disease. Now again, it's a good idea to use we. It's kind of like what we call the royal we. Instead of saying my company specializes in, that sounds a little bit elementary. It sounds more professional if you say we, because you're representing your company. We specialize in ing. We specialize in manufacturing various medical instruments in use for treating heart disease. Okay, our clients include Trax, Heart, and Solix. We ship almost 500,000 devices to medical facilities yearly. We are always searching for firms like yours. Okay, try to include them in your statement here, to include them, to show, look, this is why we're contacting you. This is why we're interested in setting up a partnership with you. We are always searching for firms like yours that manufacture high quality parts. Okay, so that's a very good kind of introductory passage, telling them a little bit about your company, yourself perhaps, and also why it would be beneficial to them to accept your proposal. Okay, so at the end of the email, maybe we want to provide some more information, or perhaps we want to request some information from them. So here are some different examples. Please find attached. Of course, we went over these types of expressions, especially in Unit 3 when we talked about collocations. There are many different expressions to use when you attach information to your email. This is the one I most commonly use. Please find attached Momo, right? Please find attached a prospectus of our company. Please find attached an MS Word file showing our products and price list, for example. Or you could say, I have attached Momo for your information. Or I have provided a link to, and then some website here. Okay. You could also write, please provide us with information concerning, right? Now, in this case, you're requesting information. Please provide us, because maybe you want to know more about their products or their services, or maybe a schedule when you can arrange a meeting, right? Please let us know what you decide, right? That's just a general request. If you are interested in our proposal, our very initial proposal at the beginning, please let us know what your decision is. Please let us know what you decide. Or please inform us if you would like to follow up on our proposal, on our request, right? So these are good ways to also request information from them, whether it's just a yes/no answer or specific information about their products or services. Okay, to wrap up, we have an exercise fill in the blanks, because I'll have you write a full email. So you've already written 3 paragraphs, maybe 4 paragraphs so far of that email. So instead of having you write it fully, let's just do a quick little exercise here to increase our vocabulary. And these are pretty easy, actually. So the first one is, please beep attached a company brochure. And these are our words up here. Of course, this exercise appears on page 71, so you can just follow along there. So our words are hearing, reply at, details, by, find, let us know, could, until, and earliest. Which word fits in the blank? Of course, this is quite easy. We just saw this expression. Please find attached a company brochure. Okay. Oh, and by the way, I should note there are extra words. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 choices here, but we're not going to use all 9. Okay, so that's a good point. Okay, number 2. Please beep what your decision is. Beep the end of the week. Okay. Okay, so here we have 2 choices. What would go in the first blank? Please beep what your decision is. Okay, so we're looking for something like, inform us, tell us, or of course we could use let us know, this one here. So that's a good expression to use. So please let us know what your decision is. And then the end of the week, we need a preposition here. What preposition goes? Well, of course, that would be by. Please let us know what your decision is by the end of the week. So we cross that one out as well. Okay, number 3. Could you please, and then again, we have 2 blanks. Now we could say, could you please let us know, but we already used that for the previous one. We've already used by, and we've already used find, right? Reply. Could you please reply at your beep convenience? Now this is a very common collocation. We talked about this before. At your earliest convenience. Okay, so we've crossed that out there. Okay, so could you please reply at your earliest convenience? So number 4, we are looking forward to beep from you soon. Okay, again, this is a very common expression. We are looking forward to, we usually use hearing, right? So we are looking forward to hearing from you soon. Okay, and the last one, number 5, we have again 2 blanks. Beep, you please share any beep about any discounts you may offer. I have to improve my sound effects. Okay, so anyway, what would you do? It's a request. We want to be polite, so a polite request word would be could, right? So could you please share any beep about any discounts? So we want to know more information about any discounts that they might provide, so we want to know details, right? So could you provide or share any details? Share is a nicer word than provide, right? Share it with us, right? It sounds friendlier, right? You're sharing something with somebody else. Could you please share any details about any discounts you may offer? Okay, so that wraps up that exercise and a little bit of vocabulary exercise for you. And that brings us pretty close to the end of this lesson. So I do have an assignment here, as I do at the end of each unit. Units 6 through 14, I do have an assignment that students would write in class. And the assignment details are here. You could find those on page 72. Imagine your company is Car Solutions Incorporated. Your product or service is electronic. You make electronic displays for car dashboards. You're contacting a company. Their name is Reactive Parts Company. You can make up the name of the person that you're contacting. Why are you contacting them? Your company would like to use their OLED parts in your products, right? So car dashboards, of course, you would have many displays, right? We're looking at different display types or display devices. Your previous contact, how do you know the person that you're contacting? Well, you attended the 12th Annual Auto Show in Las Vegas last month. Great. Spoke with the person you are emailing. You spoke to that person, so you know their name, and they may or may not remember you. So again, I hope I've given you a lot of good expressions to use. We've talked about the organization of your email. How would you write that email? So this is a good exercise for you. Now, as usual, at the end of each unit in the book, it's in this case on page 73, I took that idea and I wrote an example email or an example answer, and you can find that on page 73. So go ahead and take a look at that, and hopefully that will give you a good idea about how to write this type of email. So the next time you write an email that you need to introduce yourself to a company that you're interested in doing business with, whether you're interested in their products or their services, I hope you have a lot of good ideas now and are more confident and can write that email more efficiently after this lesson. So thank you for studying with me as always. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.